Who is this darkness, anyway?
Greetings, everyone. This is the Grinding Gear Podcast. I'm Garrett, here as always with Kyle. Actually, here surprisingly with Kyle.
I'm still here. It's getting weird.
I was not expecting you to be here this week. I was expecting to be scrambling for a podcast guest. Hey, John, if you're listening, you're welcome back at any time. I just may not have a lot of warning to give you. Yeah.
Yep.
How's it going?
Still here, still maybe number 2 has not arrived quite yet, which means things are, it's a little limbo-y around here. It's my second kid,
Yeah.
so like people aren't saying like, "Oh, stay calm. Go on a big date. It'll be your last chance." Like none of that's happening. Everyone's like, "Yeah, no, we get it. You're busy." Yep. Yep. The only scary part is like Kristen woke up this morning with like this burst of energy, which kind of gives you that like, oh my God, like she's gonna climb into the cave kind of feeling. Like this is it. Why would she be so energetic all of a sudden? It's the last play session with the hound dog, kind of feeling around here.
Last play session with the hound dog.
Yeah, hound dogs like before they pass, they tend to like get really energetic and have
That's
like
dark as shit.
well, it's just it's part of life, We're
I've never had a hound dog.
yeah.
Jesus.
Oh no, it's adorable. I mean, it's adorable. Hound dogs are so sweet. They're so great.
Did you have a hound dog growing up?
No, I lived by one though, and
okay.
and like old Buster comes
Okay,
out,
okay.
wrinkly old white-haired faced Buster comes
Well,
on.
we've just been launched out of the trebuchet of this is not where I thought things were going, but I'm just going to continue going down this path. I thought you were deathly afraid of dogs. I thought you had a dog phobia.
I did. I got chased.
Did you get over it?
Yeah, pretty much. I got chased a
cool.
lot by.
Well, not that I'm judging you, man.
No,
like
that was
I
years
get
ago.
it, man. You've
Yeah.
been bit. I don't. Were you were bit by a dog, right?
I just chased a lot.
Okay.
The main one was I was over at a friend's house for a sleepover. We were playing Pokemon cards and Super Smash, I think, but it was mostly Pokemon cards. Anyway, they had a security dog, a German Shepherd, which was inside that night wrongfully. And so as I came out of the kid's room down the hall, and I literally did like I was in 6th grade. I did the dive through the door and kick the door closed. I was like through the hole and kind of kicking the dog in the yeah. But my sister, so I now live by my sister who has beautiful farmland, and she owns a Newfoundland and what I think is like a sheepdog mixed with a golden retriever. They're giant. Like
These sound like massive animals.
yes, they're absolutely just dinosauric beasts.
So opposite of what we've got going on over here.
Exactly. And so, you're sitting by them. There's a chance they could just kind of lie and mouth your whole head. And they haven't in 3 years. So I'm doing a lot better.
My parents have a shepherd right now, and he's just the dumbest dog my family has ever had. He's just this dumb, lovable idiot, and he's great.
Yeah.
He tries to he thinks his own drool hitting the ground outside is a bug. So you'll see he stares at the ground, and when a drool droplet falls and hits the dirt, he then tries to like pounce it. And he'll just do this for like an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there looking at him like, how do you live? But I love him. He's great. He's a good boy.
Dogs are doing better. I'm doing a lot better nowadays.
Didn't think that's where we were going.
No,
but hey,
no. It's hard not to be personal. It's hard not to be personal during this time in my life, right? Like so much of my time is dedicated to helping out with my son, nesting, and then like, well, it's part of the nesting, but like just making comfort at night. And that comfort has been spent like playing Jedi Fallen Order, hanging out with Kristen, or playing Persona 5. I've been doing a lot of that. Like it's about being very chill around here. Like Kristen is a big fan of Dark Souls games. We didn't Elden Ring at all. Like she just doesn't have the energy, the patience to try that hard at something, but it's sitting there in the wings. Like as soon as that baby's out. I bet you Elden Ring's going to be fired up around this house. It's going to be awesome. We watched
Foul tarnished.
Yep. You'll be mad at me. We watched all of Pride and Prejudice 1994 instead of watching Andor. I'm sorry about that, but
It sounds awful.
it's really good. It's actually really good.
I'm good.
Yeah. No, it's super cute. It's adorable. Plus,
I'm all right.
people like talking in old timey ways. There's a disconnect that I really enjoy. It's the same reason why I think for many reasons, I like subbed anime. But in anime, they say a lot of cringy things all the time. And in English, they're even more cringy. They're awful. Which is why the World of Warcraft movie, or is it just the Warcraft movie, is better in German. Because then you don't see American language being cringy.
I still have to see bad human armor and horrible fake beards.
The text takes the edge off. You're so busy reading, maybe the cringe dodges you. Oh, yeah, I looked up some English Persona 5. Oh. Ooh. Whoa. Oh man, I can't do it. Like
that's fair.
Yeah.
I started catching up on Housing Complex C and was thinking I was really far behind. Then I looked at it and I'm like, oh, there's only 3 new episodes out. I'm not as far behind as I thought. Come to find out, it's only a 4-episode miniseries. So I only have 1 episode left.
Oh wait,
it's this new anime, or it was an anime that they were showing on Adult Swim week to week over October because it's kind of creepy.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's all on HBO Max. If you got yourself an HBO subscription, you also have access to the whole back catalog of Adult Swim stuff. That's why it's on there. So that's how I've been watching it. I think it's really charming and just the right amount of like off-putting. And now I'm just disappointed because last night I'm like, I'm going to sit down and spend an hour catching up on Housing Complex C. I only have 1 episode left. And then I went and checked IMDb and I'm like, oh, it's 4 and done. Okay. So now I'm a little sad. I thought I had a lot of episodes ahead of me.
What a weird looking show.
It's different. It's different. Yeah. It's like a 1 location anime.
Yeah. Man, oh my, this is dark. This is something.
No, don't tell me what you're seeing because I've got the finale to watch.
No, this is the trailer. So this is the teaser. So I assume.
Yeah. It's got a lot of heart though. There's a lot of real kind of happy, joyous. There's a lot of childlike wonder mixed in with the darkness. So, yeah. It's a good balance.
As a story should be. Like the more wacky it goes, the more serious. You gotta, it's a balance. Oh, balance. You gotta balance.
I'm not sure I agree with that, but sure.
Yeah,
why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
What didn't balance was those damn puzzles and Jedi Fallen Order. They suck sometimes. And the prompt is always like, do you need a hint? Do you need a hint? And I'm like, shut up! So I didn't know that I was supposed to turn on the tractor beam wall and shoot a fire lamp into it for 30 minutes. Calm down, game. Maybe your visual language isn't that clear. Maybe you're not as great at your Metroidvania as you think you are.
Every time you get angry at Jedi Fallen Order, I feel like you're mad at me for something I don't remember doing. That's how it feels. It's been so long. I haven't gone near that game since my original playthrough, which was at launch. I think I beat that thing in like 3 days. I couldn't put it down.
Sure, marathoned it. It's probably the better way to play it.
It was exactly what I wanted. I was like, oh, EA made a good Star Wars game. Cool. Like that just in and out. I was done. You're making me want to go back to it, but dude, I'm in the home stretch, man. I got like 4 weeks of school left. Stop talking about stuff I want to do.
Well, we got lots to, you got all kinds of
yeah,
stuff.
Listen, man, I could get dark and morbid on your ass every day. I get to talk to you as a blessing because I never know when you're just going to be gone. I never know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, yeah,
we would warn you when Kylo's taking a break, everybody, but we literally can't. The baby could come at any moment now. It may come in the middle of the show.
It could. I might.
Which honestly,
limited engagement.
Kind of awesome. I think that would. I mean, not for my own purposes. Yeah, I mean, it would be a very memorable episode of this podcast. But
we're gonna have. God of War Ragnarok coming out here. You got the new WoW expansion coming out. Like,
yep.
Hearthstone's up to stuff.
Hearthstone's up to some really cool stuff.
Is anything happening in December? Chat as well. Like anybody looking forward to anything in December? Because I don't know.
That's when the Hearthstone thing comes out.
Okay.
December's always a shit show for games, right? That's usually the last ditch effort for things to come out, and they almost always get pushed.
Oh, Callisto Protocol. Yeah, that's coming out.
The more I see that game, the less interested I am.
It's in an interesting place. So the creator, the director, bragged on Twitter that the team is crunching, working 11 hours a day. Like, we're just so excited. We can't wait to get this game in your hands. And Twitter was like, the hell are you talking about, bro? That's not okay. Which it's not, in a corporate environment. Like, you and I have to crunch to get our own videos out, but we're our own bosses making us do it, right? So he was passionate about it. He got a lot of flack for it. He says he's pulling back the team, but there's some hints that it might not be ready on release in that way. It could be kind of a bad launch. It wasn't allowed to release in full in Japan. Like, it's not coming out at all because they have violence standards that can't be met. Like, you can't edit out the content, or the game creator said releasing this game in a lesser form would not be worth our time. So they aren't going to release a, edited version, which of course is weird because, I'm playing Persona 5 and, Final Fantasy 14, tons of really, really messed up stuff happens, but it's all emotional, right? It's only emotionally messed up, not violence messed up. We're weird in America too.
Hey, yeah, dude. Oh yeah, all the gore, but don't you dare show a booby.
Yeah, no.
How dare you?
How dare you?
We cannot handle the human form, but boy, we're all for decapitations.
Yep.
Bring them out. Bring out those severed heads.
God of War Ragnarok's getting like really good reviews, like 94s right now on Metacritic from the various reviewers. They're only like 10 hours in, of course, but it sounds like that's going really, really well. And there's going to be that Darktide thing that I don't know if it's going to be good or not. You weren't here for that episode. That was John and I.
Darktide?
Yeah, Darktide is the Warhammer 40K version of Vermintide.
Oh, that's a Vermintide, but 40K, which means I'm more into it.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, no, dude, I'm straight up excited for that, but that's not coming out in December, is it?
No, it's coming out very, very soon. I could check my Steam here, but it's coming out very, very soon.
Just says 2022 here on Google. November 30th.
Yeah, it ran its beta weekend. A lot of features were missing. The mission structure seemed maybe a little more like randomized. Like, what it seems like they're going for feels kind of live servicey, as you log into the game and there are active missions available for the next 30 minutes, and they kind of tick down. And at the end of those 30 minutes, other active missions will activate. So if there's like a free play mode where you can pick any mission you want, then you bypass this whole thing. It's more about like bonus daily XP or something like that. But Vermintide Fat Shark systems are often a little obtuse, a little loot box feely, even though it is a buy and play game.
Gotcha.
It can get messy in there.
Yeah. Now December's pretty light. It's a Callisto Protocol. I did not know they're doing an HD re-release of the Final Fantasy Crisis Core game.
I don't know my Final Fantasies well enough.
That's a Final Fantasy VII prequel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it came out forever ago. Is that a PS3 game? I think. PSP? This is a PSP game? Yeah, it was. Okay, hey, look at that. It was a PSP game.
There are so many
play that
Final Fantasy games, and there's like 7 sevens, and it's confusing. I choose not to invest.
That's super confusing.
Yeah.
I remember getting 10-2 for Christmas, and like because I had played 10, and so I put 10-2 on my Christmas list and was like trying to explain to my parents. No, it's literally called 10-2. Yeah, no, Roman numeral 10 with the 2 after it. Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah, my mom rules, man. She figured it out. I got 10-2 for Christmas that year. Still remember trying to explain that one. Yeah. Anyways, dude. Hey. Speaking of video games, which I guess could be literally
do it.
That could be a transition any week. But let's get to this week's news.
Good. Oh, great news, everyone. Shove it.
Game Pass, Xbox, Microsoft, man. Hey, Kyle, you like earnings calls?
They're all right.
They're all right. Earnings calls. This isn't all from the earnings call. I do like this Kotaku piece Kotaku's been getting on my nerves lately, but I like this Kotaku piece. I don't think they're. I know you're a big grump about it. It's whatever. They're playing the game. They're getting the clicks.
Yeah.
I get it. I don't besmirch them. I don't besmirch. After a full year of needing to make a YouTube thumbnail every week, I no longer judge Kotaku. Okay.
They ran a whole smear campaign about Disney World today because the Haunted Mansion wasn't online when the writer went there. Granted, Disney World is very, very expensive, but
it's not what we're here to talk about.
It
We're
was
not
still
here to
kind
talk
of
about
like
the state of Kotaku or how. I'm trying to remember what version of we're reporting on Twitter's collective opinions annoyed me this week, but there was one of those that really annoyed me. But doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. There was an earnings call from Microsoft this week. Phil Spencer and a lot of Xbox executives were present and talked a lot about what's going on with Xbox, what's going on with Game Pass. But there's an article up on Kotaku right now called 9 Things We Just Learned About Xbox Game Pass and Microsoft's Gaming Future. Not everything in here is actually from the earnings call. Some are from the Same Brain podcast where Phil Spencer appeared, and also a Wall Street Journal Tech Live interview with Phil Spencer, in addition to things that were said at the earnings call. But I think it's fine because this is all, it sure seems like it's all part of it. It's like a press junket for the earnings call.
Sure.
Like,
I need dates.
bland.
I need dates so badly. Phil Spencer has reached like Chris Metzen, Yoshi P like levels of quotability, and we got to put dates on these because what Phil Spencer said in 2016 isn't necessarily true anymore, but often regurgitated as fact. But these luckily are all like modern statements from this most recent circle.
And it even picks up on some things that were talked about a long time ago, like they were working on a game streaming device that like only existed to play Game Pass. So you bought the streaming device to put it on your TV and you could stream games off Game Pass. That was called Project Keystone. It's dead. It's shelved. That's not coming out. So that was something that was talked about in the past, and here we get a proper update on it. And that's the end of that.
Well, the thing that I, of course, found interesting is what's going on with Game Pass. I avoided it for a long time, just partially out of necessity. But now I have it, and I really, really like it, particularly because
necessity. What is it necessary for you to not have the greatest deal in gaming?
No, because $15 or $10 a month wasn't in the budget. You know what I mean? Like I had to cut subscription services.
Okay.
Through the pandemic times. Like
I didn't mean to drag you.
I had to cut down.
You in money
No, it's a very human thing to ask about. I was being coy, but it's an extremely human thing to have to do. So I avoided for a long time. Now, of course, my son's just started to get into video games, so I got like Paw Patrol Grand Prix and like Ben 10 on there, and he's really enjoying those. And it's really fun to have my own games. Like I didn't have to pay full price for Persona or Jedi Fallen Order, except for that I have to like launch through an EA launcher, and it's a little.
The EA launcher it doesn't work great, but I mean it's still additional free games, so it's hard to complain.
Right. I'm playing Dicey Dungeons, which was something I didn't want to pay for because I hate the art, but the gameplay is actually really solid.
The amount of times I've heard you say that, like, I love this game, but the art sucks, man. Like, I'm starting to think that art doesn't matter to you.
It's a big barrier. Like, as you well know, particularly Magic the Gathering or Hearthstone, like if the deck art sucks, isn't my jam. That deck ain't being made.
But you'll play a whole game that you don't like the way it looks.
Yeah, particularly like turn-based math games. That's like my
That's
late
fair.
night jam. Non-competitive.
Our friendship is just, us trying to understand each other's wildly specific and ever-changing sensibilities.
If you don't have specifics in your life, you're gonna go through it unhappy. You gotta make some preferences because you got limited time on this planet.
Boy, can we just put on a black parade under your statements today?
I'm not trying to be dark. I'm just being realistic is all. My time is limited. Anyway, no.
There's a wonderful MCR tweet that said, listen, we get it. A lot of people say that we romanticize sadness, but there's emo bands that have done worse. Some romanticize Ohio, and that made me laugh.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not in a band, sadly.
How you've never been in a band still amazes me. But getting back to Game Pass here. So it looks like most of the growth on Game Pass is coming from the PC side of things, which it sounds like they weren't really expecting, but I guess PC Game Pass subscribers grew 159% from last year.
Well, and they go on to say that the Game Pass on consoles basically hit its wall. Like they don't think they're going to get any
Yeah.
more people, which makes sense, right?
Yeah, Microsoft was targeting 73% growth for the year, which fiscal year ended in June 2022, but it only reached 28%. So they fell way short of what they anticipated. And yeah, what Kotaku's getting into here and what I, agree with is that it kind of feels like Game Pass has reached its limit.
Oh no. True though, referencing our YouTube, like who doesn't want infinite growth, right? Everyone wants each video to do better than the last. Everyone wants, numbers to keep climbing. The graph always goes up. So absolutely.
Give me that dopamine hit of a green up arrow icon every time I check my YouTube dashboard, please.
Right. So it makes perfect
watching
sense.
Overwatch 2.
That a bunch of people sitting in, and basically doing their gambling, putting their money on the table, would want the numbers always going up. And if they see a wall approaching, they're going to be getting a little weird here.
Yes. And to me, I just link this to how the narrative that Spencer keeps putting out there that, hey, we're interested in ABK to really put a big dent and addition to our mobile portfolio, because we just don't have much out there. We don't have much of a presence in mobile. And if we get ABK, suddenly we will. And I think this fits in rather nicely with that narrative, whether it's true or not.
I think it also works into this idea that Microsoft really wants a big first-party exclusive. They don't have a way to get people Xboxes. So, of course, the PC market's going to be where people are doing the Game Pass, because there's no reason to own an Xbox.
True. It's that's the weird thing about Microsoft, right? Like, that's why I like them. Right now, I think they're pretty consumer friendly, with the fact that shit like the latest Halo game was available day one on Game Pass, and also I could play it on my PC if I wanted. Like, I didn't even need their console. But at the same time, I'm kind of looking at it like, not really the best business move.
But it's also your lost leader, so it probably just cheaper to make people play on computers. Plus, then
that was something that came up in this too, right? That they're like, they're confirming that they're still losing money on it. Like, isn't that true of every console ever, that the consoles are loss leaders?
I believe Nintendo says they're not, because they use old parts.
But look at the graphics on that thing.
Right.
The chips probably cost $5.
Right, exactly.
Everyone else who makes things that are, of this century, I would expect to still be a loss leader.
Yeah, and there's a very long through line with PlayStation and that, right? Like, PlayStation just has always been kind of that graphical one-upmanship. It feels a little less so just because we're kind of hitting sometimes that graphical wall. I did watch some of the footage from the DLC they put out for Resident Evil 8. And, faces were a little weird again. So I don't know what's going on there. I'm a little nervous about Resident Evil 4 not being able to do all I want it to.
Yeah, I thought everyone was just bummed about RE4 because you can't save the dog now.
Oh, you can't say it's like linear? You can't
save the dog. Dog's dead. Sorry. I guess it was a hound. It was probably really energetic the day before.
And happy. Yeah, the Xbox Series X and S are sold at a huge loss. And then, of course, the prices will go up in the future, with Spencer, being very honest about this. I appreciate that. I think we've all been feeling this coming a long time. It is the balance of, can you give us the price increase without schemes involved? Probably not. We're still going to it's just going to be a flat price increase on video games.
It is what it is. Everything's gone up. We have literally had conversations on this podcast about the price of eggs.
Yeah.
So I'm not rooting for it, but I understand it. If that makes sense.
Xbox Game Pass is great. I think all this news is understandable and a nice little summary of their awareness of the current atmosphere.
Yeah, all of this to me, just like it just kind of seems like this all makes sense, and it just feels like we're in the waiting room for that Microsoft ABK purchase to go through. We're in limbo, because that's the next big thing for Microsoft if it gets approved.
Right, and there was a bunch of people who pulled their support or their stocks and stuff, thinking it's not going to go approved. That's all just turbulence.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe all of this. Turbulent.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm curious. I've been bracing for the Game Pass price increase for a while. I'm curious how much it'll go up.
What is it right now?
Dude, I don't even look anymore. I think it's 15. Is it 15 a month still? It's just one of those things I don't think about.
What?
There's no easy. 15 for console, 10 on PC is what folks are saying.
Okay.
There's not an easy answer. And of course, when you go to their website, they're advertising like the try now for $1. It's like, I don't want to know that. I want to know what it'll cost after that.
Right.
So yeah, no, I've had it basically since the beginning, and I don't think I've ever lapsed. Because there's always at least one game on there I just want to play.
They do a good job keeping something modern on there, and certainly being able to try games. Granted, last month I hit my data cap on my service provider because I was trying too many games here and there, but it is fun game bouncing until you find.
It's also almost like you have to download massive files that I send you.
That is true.
For videos.
That did happen. There was a frame rate issue. We were overbidding our videos there for a little bit.
I am so thankful that I live in an area with no data caps.
It's a thing in Oregon.
There's more than one option here, so they know if they instituted a data cap, I would just go to the other soulless corporation.
I am excited though to hear about what you've been up to though.
Oh,
Yeah,
are you?
You've been doing things.
Oh, I have been up to things. But before we talk about those things, I want to talk about the people that have been up to supporting us over at supportourbromance.com.
Well done.
Our wonderful patrons supporting us on Patreon. If you go to supportourbromance.com, you will go, well, it'll whisk you away to the land of Garrett and Kyle's Patreon, where, hey, if you like what we do, whether it's our YouTube videos or podcasts or streams, all of the above, your own custom pairing of some of the above, you can support us on Patreon. We have predetermined levels that you can sign up at, or I don't know if you know this, on Patreon, you can set it to be whatever amount you want to give. You can put a cap on it. The world is your Patreon oyster over at supportourbromance.com, and you'll get some perks like access to our members-only channels in our Discord server. You're going to get an ad-free version of the show, meaning you will not hear this. That's right, you won't hear this. Sometimes they're pretty funny. I would say this week's not so funny.
Sometimes there's actually like nuggets of information in here that we accidentally bring up.
Exactly. But nonetheless, you won't hear this, and we would just appreciate the support, everybody. So check it out. Supportourbromance.com. And now let's move to this week's trailer park. But first, I'm actually going to ask you if you just want to take a break right here for a second.
I'm good. Let's keep rocking.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I've screwed things up, and now I need to...
No, you're doing great. Hi, VOD crew. No,
it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
You were saying you had a sore throat. I want to get you in and out today. Get your voice resting.
Appreciate it. All right. And then trailer park bumper starts.
Yep. Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's right. This week, we're heading straight back to the trailer park. This is where we talk about the latest trailers or really anything related to the preview adjacent marketing efforts of soulless mega corporations we cannot stop buying things from.
I'm being accused of being dark here.
Kyle, that is a pre-written intro that is in the show notes template.
Oh, I see. Oh,
this is how we introduce trailer park.
Okay. I wasn't aware. Yeah.
This is how we do it. This is how we do it.
Yeah, your depression is pre-scripted. Mine, however, is dark and moody.
Yes. Yeah. You want to take a break? You need to talk, buddy? How are things doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
Hey, there was a big announcement this week that I was minorly involved with, and but it fits here because Hearthstone just announced its next expansion, which I feel like normally we'd make light mention of on this program. But for the purposes of Trailer Park, this is the first time they've ever had a full-on 3D animated cinematic for any think no, that's not true. They had those weird musical ones that you don't like, but those
They were
like
okay.
that was like a commercial for just Hearthstone in general.
They were okay.
This is a trailer for the next expansion. It is full 3D animated. If you haven't seen it already, Hearthstone's never had anything like this. Honestly, it gave me kind of Heroes of the Storm pangs. I was like, shit, dude, I miss HOTS.
Right here when the smoke happens, where the smoke is hand animated, but the characters are 3D. Totally the Orphea trailer. Like, yeah,
that's
It's a little too 1-to-1 for me. The voice lines that they're using are the Arthas voice lines from Heroes of the Storm.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, I mean, when you watch the little trailer and he's like, "Your soul is mine," and all his little lines, 100. I mean, they could have got the guy back in. It'd be a waste of time. He's saying the exact same thing in the exact same inflection.
Oh,
yeah,
that hurts. That hurts.
But I want to defend myself. No, what I said about the Hearthstone trailers is that they were good. They reached Anastasia. Is that how you say
Anastasia?
Anastasia levels or Swan Princess levels. They never reached Disney levels.
Like, it's hard to reach Disney levels.
I know, but you know, it just didn't. It didn't. The song wasn't great enough. The animation
you got on me
was great.
for in our Wednesday video this week for comparing I would say some mid-ass music from Final Fantasy 14 to not quite reaching Terminator 2 levels of awesomeness, and you're like, that's a high bar. I'm like, Final Fantasy 14 has like 10 million songs and like 9 million of them are amazing, so I can be a little picky here. So I digress. March of the Lich King is the next Hearthstone expansion, and they're adding Death Knight as the 11th class for Hearthstone. This is only the second time they've added a class to the game.
What was the first?
Demon Hunter.
Oh, right.
Demon Hunter got added right before COVID. Literally right before, beginning of 2020. It was actually the last time I was on a plane up until very recently. I went out for the press junket for that. And they added Demon Hunter, and it was the most broken thing in the game.
That's
they
right.
had to do an emergency patch where like numbers were in red because they didn't have time to do a full-on client-side patch. But yeah, and alongside this, they've put out the cinematic that is, I think, freaking awesome. The whole vibe of the expansion as a whole is like Death Knights versus Silvermoon.
Are you able to tell me about yourself? What's going on?
I'm gonna. They're having a show tournament, and I will be one of the two hosts for it.
That's badass, man.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, no, you should be.
I'm
That's
very,
really
very
cool.
Excited. I was a little confused and very flattered to be asked. Granted, I didn't know what I was being asked to say yes to when this is how these things go. It's not like they're like, hey, this is our next thing. It's like, hey, would you be interested in doing a thing for us? And if yes, would you like to sign this NDA so we can tell you what it is?
Right.
Yeah. And I was just like, okay, let me take and the second I saw this, so I got to see the cinematic early, and I was just like, yes, I would love to do this.
Yeah.
This looks amazing. This is so my jam. All the way back to there's a lot going on. So cinematic's awesome, but also, I love Death Knight. I love Arthas. This is very Death Knight Arthas-y.
Mm-hmm.
A thing I've been asking for in Hearthstone since I got into the beta in 2013 is graveyard mechanics. Death Knight's gonna have an additional resource it can spend called corpses, and it's like a pseudo graveyard mechanic, and it is a built-in for that class in the card game. It's not just for this expansion, as far as I understand. It's like this is something they're always going to have access to. So when your minions die, your corpse counter goes up, and then you can pull from that to raise ghouls and whatnot, like token cards.
Right. So it's not necessarily graveyard. The cards don't exist anymore still, but you can use those points you're gathering thematically from deaths.
Yes.
There are cards that still like revive like a random dead thing, right?
Yeah, and they're bringing back the keyword reborn, which was like like the thing. If a minion had reborn on it and it died, it would come back a second time with 1 health. Yes. So reborn is also coming back, and it's a pretty big deal when keywords come back in Hearthstone because they don't reuse them a lot, unless your name is Discover, because it's probably the greatest keyword they ever came up with, and they've been using it ever since. But it's pretty rare for other expansion specific keywords to come back, but reborn's coming back, and it makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, I remember doing. That was a Reborn with the Divine Shield. I really liked. I think it was a 3/3. Came back to 3/1. It was pretty rocking.
Reborn with Divine Shield. I'm actually blanking on that right now,
Yeah,
but
this was
I'm
back
thinking
in the
Micro
day.
Mummy. That's a 1/2 though, and it doesn't have Divine Shield.
The Mal'Ganis days of old.
That was a long time ago. I don't think Reborn was with Mal'Ganis.
No. Flashback is my favorite mechanic, though, from Magic the Gathering, where you cast a spell and then it sits in your graveyard and you can cast it again, usually more expensive, sometimes cheaper even.
You can, like, graveyard mechanics in Magic. That was my jam.
Yeah,
I learned Magic pretty late in life, and then a few years later, Hearthstone came out. So I was like all about it because I was on a Magic high, and then Hearthstone was coming out. And there's a couple things I've always wanted. I've always wanted graveyard mechanics. I've always wanted Death Knights. I also, like, low key, I've always wanted like multicolor Magic type stuff going on, which they flirted with like dual class cards and tri-class cards in the past, but it's very rare. But Death Knight also has this limitation to how you can build decks because certain Death Knight cards have runes on them, either Frost, Blood, or Unholy, and that infers how you build your deck. Because you have 3 rune slots, and you can only have 3 rune slots, and some have like 1 unholy rune, 2 unholy runes, or 3 unholy runes. So if you drop in a 3 max rune card, you're then mono rune. You can't splash into the other 2 runes. But if you only go up to like the 2 power, then you can splash a 1 rune of another color if you want.
So when you're building your deck, it's kind of like mana, like you're gonna say like,
a little bit. It's not something you spend. It's just your restriction on essentially the power level of the card. So the most powerful Blood, Unholy, or Frost cards are going to have 3 runes on them, and so if you want to use them, you're locking yourself into a mono rune deck.
So when I add that, it's kind of like a commander in that way. Like I add my 3 blood card when I'm making my deck, and the deck is kind of like, wah, locked in. This is now a blood deck.
Essentially, I had a chance to play around with the UI, and you can also, like, there's just 3 runes up at the top, and you're building a Death Knight deck, and you can click what runes you want, and so then it'll only let you drag certain cards in.
So they kind of found, it's very goldish in that way. Like they kind of found a way to add a new class that also could feel like 3 different decks, but sharing the same card pool for the base stuff, which is how it works now, right? Like you enter the game and you have like legacy cards, like cards that are always viable. You'll always have access.
And they swap them. Well, they swap them out every year. They essentially took what used to be like core and standard, combined them, and then they kind of curate what cards are there at the start of each new what they call standard year, quote unquote.
Do they ever redo art?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay, that's always a fun thing in Arena where you have, like, because I've played now for many years, so each time they do a standard set, I can still select while playing standard old art of that distress or counterspell card.
Yeah, no, they don't do that. They do rebalance the cards though sometimes.
Here's
like the old cards.
Here's my shallow question: why are they using? Isn't this a DLC character that you have to buy to like replace your Uther? Why is it battling Arthas?
Liadrin?
Yeah.
She's the leader of the Blood Knights, and it's like Arthas invading Silvermoon kind of a thing.
But if I powered up the game right now today, I would have access to Uther, not when I have to buy her.
But she's also a new legendary minion in this set.
She can play herself?
I think.
I mean, not that you can't. I got, there's nothing stopping you.
She is not the first that can play herself. There's a Sylvanas card, and you've been able to be Sylvanas as a hunter for years.
Sylvanas is a hunter? I guess.
Sylvanas is a hunter, yeah. Given the options, what else would she be?
I just don't see her very pet-friendly.
I thought the same thing when they added Tirana and she was a priest, and I know she's technically a priest, but I play Heroes of the Storm, and she's basically a hunter in Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, I mean, Priestess of the Moon, I guess, she's definitely in one of those hybrid classes of, like, kind of druid, kind of priest, kind of hunter, like Anduin. But Anduin, I had no problem being priest.
I've been studying the Death Knight cards, so I don't know. I haven't committed to memory all of the non-Death Knight things that have been announced so far, but I'm pretty sure Liadrin is going to be a new, not cinematic, a new legendary.
If I got into it, what could I be Warlock-wise? Can I trade out Gul'dan for anything?
Right now or after the expansion comes out?
I guess both, but like my image of Gul'dan.
I don't know what all they've I've seen some stuff that I'm not allowed to talk about.
Oh no, I'm not
so-
prodding you there. I'm just like, can I blood elf my Uther? I think I can turn Gul'dan maybe into like a gnome or something like that.
Well, they did explain in the reveal of this that certain classes are going to have a Death Knight theme and other classes are going to have a Silver Moon theme, and I believe Warlock predictably falls under Death Knight theming.
Okay.
So the new Warlock cards are going to be like Death Knight themed.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very cool. I mean, obviously, like, I'm stoked as hell for you. You are a Arthas fanboy #1 super fan. So I'm really excited to see you getting to talk about it. It's all the announcement rolling out. Who's your co-host? I'm not familiar with Hearthstone names and content creators.
Slissa. I think she's wonderful. Had her on Angry Chicken a bunch of times back when I was host over there. And I just think it's hilarious because she's also living in Florida. So as far as I'm concerned, Hearthstone belongs to Florida now. And yeah, now Slissa rules. She's more known for Battlegrounds, but every time she picks up Standard, she just like effortlessly just bombs her way into Legend.
Sure. I mean, if you're good at a math game, you're good at a math game, right? Like Battlegrounds is no exception, though it might auto battle. It still requires you to think ahead, plan ahead, and have a general sense of other people's decks and such.
Yeah. So I'm quite excited. I like Slissa. I think she's freaking hilarious. Back when I was really big into Battlegrounds, I used to watch her content a lot. So, yeah, I think this is a personal thought. I think there's a reason they paired us together.
Yeah, no, fair. You gotta have some chemistry. Y'all have worked together before, done interviews and such. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. So really excited. That's coming up on November. It's middle of the week. It's this month. November 16th and 17th is going to be this Death Knight tournament event. I'll be out on the West Coast for this, man.
Awesome.
I just bought a new suit jacket.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah.
That's all you need, because you're probably gonna just be waist up, or you actually might do the
No,
chair
actually,
thing.
I'm going to a TV studio, dude. I think they got like camera cranes and shit.
Oh, wait, are you gonna be standing, or are you gonna be like in the stool? Are you doing the stool business?
That I don't know yet.
Okay.
I've been told expect to learn some things during the dress rehearsal.
I take great comfort in streaming, knowing my bottom half is never on display. I wear just whatever the hell shorts I want.
I do not wear pants. It's got to be real cold for me to wear pants. But I've been told that I need to be dressed well from top to bottom.
My shoe is also one of my primary busy boxes, like flipping it off my heel.
Your shoe?
Yeah, I play with the back of my shoe. I kind of move it off and on my heel. So
I don't wear shoes around the house.
No, I do. I can't. I don't feel awake unless I'm wearing shoes. I wear shoes every time I'm on stream.
Anyway, dude, I kind of low key want you to try Hearthstone when this hits.
Sure.
Like, just go try Death Knight, because we'll all be starting at like. Well, I won't, because I have streamer privilege and I've gotten the fight already. But I cannot wait. I cannot wait to talk about the kind of sort of janky way I got to test Death Knight. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about it yet. So
yeah, no, tell me about it later.
It's super minor, but it's really fun.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure I'm not going to get anyone in trouble if I explain like how I was able to test this out.
I really like, as you say, graveyard mechanics in this case, more of like a death counter mechanic, but that's all stuff I super duper enjoy. I'm curious to stick a toe back in there. There's some more card games coming out soon that I'm kind of interested in. Let me see though. Actually, let me double check, because I think I only saw the title in the picture, and on Steam you never know what's a sex game anymore. So I might be wrong about this. I was like, oh damn, that looks dark. That looks great. And then you open and you're like, oh my. Never mind.
Thought it was a wizard game. Turned out, nope. Waifu wizards.
Yep, waifu wizards.
You played yourself, Kyle.
Yeah, you done blown their clothes off with your Bejeweled game, and you're like, well, I guess I don't mind the clothes blowing off, but I don't care about Bejeweled enough.
It's also not what I was really looking for. But
no,
hey,
thanks, Steve.
Here we find ourselves. I still think it'd be a really fun idea for us to play adult game or regular game, where we just read titles on Steam and try and divine what type of game it is. I think it'd be a fun game to play on the show.
That's a game I just saw today. So it's called Nadir. It's a roguelike deck builder, and it kind of has a good like kind of Hellboy art style that I really get into after Darkest Dungeon and that sort of thing.
Mm.
So that's coming out
It
on
took me
November
forever
8th.
to realize that's what Darkest Dungeon reminded me of, was the Mike Mignola style of ink work.
Oh yeah, it's straight up just taken from that, like the artists themselves.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then I felt real dumb because it's like super obvious that that's where the inspiration comes from.
It's cuterized, but one is like it not chibi, but they're smaller. Their legs are really stubby. They're stylized. It's not full blown. I mean, sometimes the Hellboy art just is really
Just stumpy.
Yeah.
Stumpy might be a good way to do it. They're blocky. They're stumpy. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. You sent me a trailer this week though that I completely missed. And I believe it's only a day old.
Yes.
It's called Blight.
Yeah.
And it's a co-op survival horror roguelike.
Some of that
roguelite. I can never.
Yes.
I honestly don't know the difference, and I'm afraid to ask.
It's very much like the remake / remastered kind of difference. Roguelite and roguelike have very big differences. I'm not sure off the top of my head. In fact, this is important. This is important for us. Let's see if we can find out. Roguelite versus roguelike. What's the difference, says Screen Rant. I'm closing in. Roguelite is Hades. For instance, certain resources don't reset on death.
Okay, so you get to keep progression.
Yeah.
In a like. And I'm assuming like is a hardcore, like, nope, start from square one, you jackass.
Kind of like Mario, where...
And that's what folks in chat are saying right now as well.
Yeah. And that's the kind of game, like, I want. I don't mind losing, but I do want to feel like I've made some progress. And Enter the Gungeon was a little too deep. Like, the currency was more obscure. And it was just really hard. I wasn't very good at it, for one. But you just didn't feel like you carried much over, even though I'm sure to Enter the Gungeon experts, of course, you unlocked weapons, but you unlocked chances to get those weapons, which isn't so different than deck builder, but still, let me have my preference here. This looks like a Vermintide, if I'm really getting excited, like Left 4 Dead level chivalry co-op game. If you're not familiar with the chivalry kind of series, or I think Mountain Horse, it might be called, realistic armorage. So we're talking silly hats, pants with those little footholes. Your class.
The footholes.
Yeah, where the loop would go under your foot.
Pretty realistic medieval.
Yeah. And so I'm assuming here in kind of our more bullet-shaped helm, in our half plate, we've probably got in the trailer a decently leveled up character who's walking around, maybe has unlocked some equipment over the course of his adventures and is now starting out. 4-player co-op puts you in the mindset that it's going to be like 4 start zone, get to the end. Can you? How far can you go? Keep some of what you collect. Maybe keep some currency if you die. But the way they show the trailer, the player more organically comes across the other players. So maybe you start in different corners and try to find each other. We don't know those aspects. But there are NPCs talking. It seems maybe story-based. Zombies in medieval setting, pretty cool. But it's a little Last of Us. Like, clearly the zombies are tied to fungus, plants, that kind of origin story for them.
I love third-person action. This looks like the exact kind of game I would want to co-op with you.
I think that melee works really well in these third-person co-op games. It used to be a lot clunkier. I think Left 4 Dead definitely showed that it could work. Maybe not to the level at that time that we may have needed to truly invest in it. I mean, Left 4 Dead had a lot of ammo. Vermintide over time said, hey, here's our difficulty spike. Guns are really powerful. You'll have range, but we'll limit the ammo. So the strategy is more about being in melee, pushing back, using special powers, and trying to conserve that ammunition. And we can expect something similar from a medieval time, because you're just going to have bows and arrows. He headshots a guy at one point in this, but he has a single arrow in his whole inventory. And I just really like that medieval setting. I really enjoyed that Sean Bean movie. Was it Black Death? I think it was what it was called.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, I never need to see the ending of that movie.
No,
again.
it was horrible. It was a horrible end. But of course, Season of the Witch being one of my guilty pleasures. I just love medieval fantasy with the medieval part being very seriously taken. So I'm excited to see if there's blunt weapons. You got your maces and your balls and chains. If you got your short daggers, your long swords, all that kind of thing. And by chance, I've been watching a bunch of random documentaries on YouTube about how like Full Metal can be rolled in and stuff, which apparently it can be. Like actual full plate in the past was extremely well fitted, and you could have gotten a lot done in it.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's the most Kyle thing that's been said today.
Is that true? Is that true? Surely there's been other things.
I don't know. I think I was so aghast by the dog stuff because I've never heard you talk like that. This is the most on-brand shit that's come out of your mouth today.
Wait, there's like
it's all in this section. It's me and my undying love of Arthas, and it's you talking about what sounds like the most boring documentary on earth. You sound like my dad right now.
Okay. I like boring stuff.
To me,
Yeah.
It's not shade on what you like. It's me admitting how shallow I am with the media I consume.
We've all got things. There's a lot of like stealth on display here, which I'm not very confident in working out because
I like it in my zombie games. I think it's something that does get enough praise is Last of Us's gameplay. I think Last of Us has really good gameplay. I actually enjoy playing it. I'm not a huge stealth game fan, but Last of Us made me really enjoy it in my zombie games.
I don't know if it's going to work out in co-op though, because a game called GTFO, standing for Get the F Out.
Get the FF.
Excuse me. I didn't actually say the word, so I got a little confused when I bleep myself. That game became a stealth exploration, but it was more about like how everyone can set up and execute, kind of more like a Rainbow Six kind of feel in that way. And it meant it wasn't very fun to play casually. You were either really, really good at it or you had a bad time. So we could find ourselves in a similar situation here with Blight Survivor. That's what it's called, right? Blight Survivor? Yeah, Blight Survival, where it's more about everyone sneaking into position and taking everybody out at once, rather than sneaking being an element of the gameplay.
Okay.
But great looking setting. Good. I'm excited to see more co-op games like this. Obviously, co-op is a marketing tool. It's an income tool. You basically say, hey, what if we sold the game and then we made you play, buy 3 copies for your friends? Like, this is good money.
That's fine. Give me more co-op games, please. For the love of God. I'm still waiting for a Valheim update that gives us another thing to kill.
Valheim has been brutal. Like, I know they added some like new recipes and something about like crafting and putting.
That was forever ago.
Yeah. It's very small team, of course. But they haven't announced they're making a new game, so I'm curious to see if that's what they're working on in the background. Oftentimes, a lot of delays will kind of put in people's minds they're just abandoning the product and moving on to something else, which is not bad for an indie company at all. But well, I would say we're moving on to something else, but we're actually moving on to talk about another co-op game. So let's get into what else we played this week. I saw an opening and I took it. It was good. I liked it.
You forced me to play Phasmophobia, you bastard.
I did. I am intensely aware that I have now forced the majority of games your direction, and I have to pay up soon. So your selection on your whim, please. When I return, a free pass. If you'd like, I can draw it in Crown and pass it out to you like a Father's Day gift.
Wait, a what now?
Oh, I've been forcing you to play a lot of games.
A coupon and a card that says one game of your choice.
Exactly. Make me stream one game of your choice.
Wonderful. Ooh, how to use this? I believe actually have a question about this a little bit later. But yeah, we celebrated Halloween. If you missed it, the VOD is in our live stream playlist. They are not public, but it's in the playlist there. It hurts our algorithm. hurts our algorithm. But yeah, we celebrated Halloween by streaming Phasmophobia. I had never played it before. You had watched streams but not played it before.
Yes, and I watched those streams back in 2020 when the game first came out. So it was
That explains why you had no idea what you were doing.
It was a much you wouldn't say
Because
shallow
I had no
game.
idea what I was doing, and I assumed you could guide me. And well, that first hour was just us being like, "What does the thermometer do?"
Well, I was so I went into it believing, because of watching bigger levels, like I watched some like Donkey videos, Markiplier play this. Like I was under the assumption that there was a larger busting phase, like where you actually going to kind of get in there and kill ghosts. But that's more the feeling you get in the big levels, because you have to traverse so deep into the map in order to even identify it, and that's your goal. Anyway, let's talk about if you're not familiar with this game. This was our Halloween game of choice this year, and it is a ghost hunting game, very much along the lines of the old ghost hunting shows that you might find on like Travel Network, which I really like. Like season 1 and 2, I was super into those because there was more than one, but I'm pretty sure Ghost Hunters was the original, where it was like two dudes and their whole job was to debunk things. Like they were a mold specialist and a housing restoration expert.
How are we friends?
This dude, it was really good because it was two complete skeptics. They would go.
Those shows are such trash.
I know. Oh, dude, they're such trash. But they were great in the early seasons because the guys would enter the house and they'd be like, yeah, you got mold here. You might be straight up hallucinating because this is unhealthy. Or they would like set up cameras and move them around and realize like the door handle casts a head-like shadow on the wall when you walk by it at this certain angle. So we're going to replace your lighting fixtures in the basement here so you no longer see a human figure. You're done. Season 4, 5, and whatever beyond, we're going to stay a night in this creepy house. Hello, spirits, are you there? Like, it was off the rails. It was no longer a travel show. It wasn't a home restoration show. It was straight up just bad ghost hunting and fate.
It's me, your boy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It got real bad over time, but I love that original stuff. So when we got into this game, being a Ghostbuster fan as well, I was hoping there was like a busting phase, like we solve.
There's a new Ghostbusters game out where like you can't throw the trap while you're also tethering. So it's like this co-op experience of like someone's got to tether, someone's got to throw the trap. I kind of want to try it.
I am a little curious too. I really just want them to make an XCOM game for Ghostbusters. I would love that so much. You got your firehouse, you upgrade it, you put new rooms in it, you expand your traps, you go in, you back and forth, mission base.
Oh, I'd play the shit out of that.
Hell yeah.
Oh my
Dagon's
God.
coming or something. Like, who gives a shit? Like, just add a little story on top, like War of the Chosen did.
Their weapons are really limited though.
Not in the video games necessarily.
I played the one that came out when we were in college that got the whole cast back together. It was actually pretty good.
Yeah, that had.
They just re-released that.
They did. They had a couple of games that were all weapons that were mostly influenced by the old Sega game, I believe, where you had like a 3-shot burst, you had like a slow laser, you had like a charge and fire. And there's ways to augment. Obviously, they're all just plasma machines at the end of the day. Like visually, they're not terribly distinct. And in the 2000, what would that been, like 9 game they put out, it was more about like, oh, I'm immune to your electric thing, so get out your purple one. It wasn't as intricate or interesting as like Doom did it. Like Doom is the premier puzzle shooter in my mind.
It's not bound by I need this to look like my movie thing. Like It's just you like guns. We got a lot of guns. We got a lot of different types of guns. You enjoy the guns.
Just do it like guns. All of XCOM. Like give me a ghost busting power suit. Like it's fine. Like cut off my legs and put treads on there. Like it doesn't matter. I just want to bust ghosts.
Oh, all right. I'm grabbing your feet. I'm holding them to the coals. Are you just too scared to talk about Phasmophobia?
I'm not. I'm getting around to it.
I have never heard you cuss this much in my life. Not in our most private angriest conversations. Like there are weeks where there have been times in our life where we've been so mad about something happening in our content creation life where we've had very angry conversations with one another, not necessarily mad at each other, but like mad about comments or poor reviews or something. I've never heard you cuss this much. It was hilarious. Also, I was scared shitless. This game is terrifying.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy. The goal is not to bust. It is merely to identify and get out alive. And in order to do so, you use your various ghost hunting tools like a thermometer, like a meter, and identify based on those tools going out what kind of ghost you have. You circle the type you got, which in 2020 there was like maybe 8, and now there's like 20 or something along that line. And then you try to get out alive, and that's the game. And it is intensely thematic. And for me in particular, my big cussing spree, my big F-bomb spree, was whispering in my ear, like something at the end of the day. And that just, it freaked me. It freaked me out.
You had headphones on, right?
I did have full headphones on.
Yeah, so I was I was handing out candy immediately after we got off stream. As a matter of fact, I was late to it. I missed about 100 trick-or-treaters before I came out. That's how many kids came by, and we still handed out probably to another at least like 100 plus kids after that. So I was in full Beetlejuice costume, face completely covered in grease paint. And the last thing I was going to do was put my headphones on and get grease paint all over them. The shirt I wore that day, dude, completely ruined. It is stained green. I'm still getting green out of the soft, baggy skin under my eyes.
It was a great costume.
Not green, that was purple. The purple grease paint, I learned, stains the shit out of your eye sockets. So that's fun. So I didn't have headphones on, and I understand this started as a VR game, right? It went the other way. It went from VR to non-VR.
Did it? I never saw it played in VR.
Oh, I thought you told me that. Maybe I was wrong.
Yeah, when it made the YouTube rounds, it was not a VR game.
Okay. Never mind then. Whatever. Anyways, I can imagine it's a lot worse with headphones on. I still was scared shitless. But this game's brilliant. Don't look too close at your teammates though, because oh boy, is it janky.
There's a lot of jank in here. I believe it's a one-man team that's producing this game and been
one person made this game.
That's what I heard anecdotally. I don't know if that's true, and maybe Chad can correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, okay.
I believe the VR was outsourced on top of that as well to like get it done. But yeah, this is a passion project. It has grown immensely. In fact, for this Halloween update, they did a full store redo, how you like spend money after you bust ghosts, and
you don't bust them. You identify.
You just identify them, right? That's like
you identify the.
That's why we ended up on the Ghostbusters offshoot, because
I like to think that we leave and we're just like it's a priest problem now.
Yeah, it would satisfy my need for closure. Like it would be less spooky if after you're terrified and having little girls giggle in your ears, if you're like, excellent, get the gun, like let's head back in, let's rock. Like maybe if you enter with the the spirit magnum and it's a Oni, it kills you instantly, right? Like don't bring guns into the house unless you know what kind it is.
I understand where you're coming from. Boy, would that, I think, take a lot of the piss out of the tension of this game. Like knowing you can't.
Yeah.
Like you have no recourse for killing the ghost. It just makes this game a tense hellscape from whence there is no escape.
It was a really, really good game. It is an excellent co-op experience. The proximity-based voice audio quality was a little rough, for just like streaming and capturing in that way. But as a performance, like moving from our walkie-talkies when we were far apart and the walkie-talkies turning off, becoming distorted if there was a ghost event happening, the proximity-based voice got a little heavy if you like moved up the stairs. Like I could be one stair away from you and I could sound rooms away, but as soon as you cross that threshold, it's like, oh yeah, okay, they're right next to you. Really, really fun. I can't wait to do this 4-player. Like regardless of Halloween game, I'm gonna be playing this more, and I'm gonna be forcing friends to play this.
Yeah, well, give me a call. I'm ready to go back. That game is fun, man.
Yeah,
I could play more of it, even though it scared the living crap out of me. But
it was very, very creepy. It was.
It's so good too. Cause you get into like a sense of security because you start to like for me, I was like, oh, I kind of get like the meta. Like, time to you find the room first. You go from there, and freaking now I'm just getting like lost watching our footage. But like you start to get kind of high on yourself, like, yeah, I'm just doing my work. It's like it's another day at work and I'm putting down the journal to see if the ghost writes in it. And then just something you've never seen in the game before happens to you and you're scared all over again.
Yeah, the really organic moment for me was when the light exploded above your head. Like pop, and the bulb busted. And there's like leave a journal out and the voice recognition. If you're not familiar with this game at all, like it is absolutely insane. It's a really good time sitting around because the game recognizes what you're saying inside of it. So if you're going, "Spirit, are you there?" and you know the name of the the ghost you're looking for.
There were points where I was like, for the love of God, Kyle, if you say this ghost's name one more time, I'm gonna fly out there and punch you in the teeth.
I will never shout the ghost's game and then like hold the door closed on you. Okay, like I don't play that way. I'm not that kind of troll at the end of the day. But it was just a really, really unique experience. And for $11, like $11, it was more than worth it.
Oh God, yeah. I cannot shower with enough praise. We're way late to this game, but it's good. It's good. It still holds up. You should go play it. Scare the shit out of your friends. Go play Phasmophobia. Yeah. Well, let's take some questions. We've got quite a few. Let's see how many we can get through in this week's mailbag.
Hello there. Hello there. Hello there.
You can send your emails to feedback@startgrindinggear.com, or if you're supporting us on Patreon or you're a member of our YouTube channel, you can just drop us a message in the questions for host channel in our Discord that is in the members only area. It's a perk you receive when you support us on either Patreon or YouTube. You decide. Totally up to you. Ronadin wrote in and said, do you guys have a genre that you are a really big fan of in one media but just cannot stomach in another? I know Garrett loves horror movies but can't stand horror games, for example. Yeah, I mean, that's my big one. That's my big one. I will say, I liked Phasmophobia enough that I want to play more of it.
I actually had a question for you. I forgot to ask.
Oh?
Were you affected afterwards?
No.
Did you have, a spooky night? Were you nervous?
No, I went straight to handing out candy and interacting with little adorable kids. And I was dressed like Beetlejuice, and a surprising number of kids recognized the costume. I had this one little dude dressed as Captain America. I opened the door and he just goes, Beetlejuice. And I was like, yeah. And I gave him some candy and he looks at me straight in the eyes and just goes, Beetlejuice. And then he gets all excited and he like runs down the end of the driveway and he looks at me from the end of the driveway and from really far away just goes, Beetlejuice. And it was wonderful. He had to say it 3 times. You're my hero, Captain America.
Okay, yeah. I was just curious because
no, I had a really wholesome night.
As a apartment dweller, as a non-homeowner, I got out of this game scot-free. I have no garage I gotta go into at night. I have no basement. Like all the layouts of these places were so disconnected from how I live.
I live in Florida, so I'll never have a basement.
That's true. It'd flood.
I do have an attic though, but it's very rare you go up there. And it's not like up north attics. These are like you gotta crawl through the trusses of your own roof. You can't make a room up there.
Yeah. I was just, I was a little curious, but yeah. So you don't play a lot of horror games in general.
No, I can't. For the most part, I can't stand them. Action horror, totally fine. Resident Evil, let's go. Except for the newer Resident Evils. 7 scared the shit out of me. I couldn't finish it. 4 is one of my favorite games of all time. I'm definitely going to pick up the remake. I love all the Left 4 Dead games, and those do legitimately scare me sometimes because I mean, there can be long periods of it being kind of quiet and chill, and then a zombie just turns the corner on you, and you're just like, son of a yeah.
I mean, Last of Us is pretty movie-esque. You probably get Katie involved. Maybe does she watch?
Oh, yeah. Last of Us was the first game I ever played where Katie was mad when she came home and I was playing it without her. She was like, don't you play another second of this without me in the room? She wanted to see the whole thing. She loves The Last of Us.
Yeah.
absolutely loves it. And yeah, so action horror I'm fine with. Dead Space, never played myself. I watched my roommate beat the whole damn thing in college, so it kind of felt like I didn't have to play it myself. But that kind of spooked me a little bit, but I think I could get through that just fine.
Not by myself. No, I love horror games, but these are co-op experiences.
Yeah. So that's I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Like I'm not really a huge musical fan, and are there musical games? Like I like Sweeney Todd. I'm trying to think of like other things. Like it's not like there's a rom-com video game. Like
I'm sure there is. But
well, I'm sure there is.
we
There's
call them
probably some,
dating
like,
sims.
it's probably some indie game that I was never gonna play anyway. Like,
Something about pigeons getting together. There's a pigeon game where you play as pigeons.
I don't
Find
know,
love.
dating sims. Yeah, people are saying Rock Band. Yeah, Rock Band's different. And in that case, it's like, what are we comparing it to? Concerts? I love concerts. I love Rock Band. Live performance DVDs? I love those too. Music videos? Into them. Like, I like both.
I think mine would be comedy. I don't really like live action comedies, but in animation, I really enjoy comedy.
Oh, interesting.
Takes the real life edge off of the situation.
I used to like live action comedy. I feel like they just don't make them anymore, or there's strictly god awful Adam Sandler movies that go directly to Netflix.
Oh, there's more? He's still doing stuff?
I don't know. No, Katie and I would always, anytime there was like a horrible bosses style movie, we were in the theaters that weekend. We loved that crap. We eat it up. But I can't remember the last time something like that even released. For like the original Hangover, Bridesmaids, Horrible Bosses, all those kind of R-rated, mid-budget comedies. Saw all of them. Barry is. Chat's mentioning Barry. Barry is really a super dark comedy that also has a really satisfying arc. Like that's kind of Barry's kind of its own thing. It's an HBO show with what's his name? I like the actor. He was in the It sequel that I don't like but you love.
Oh yeah, Professional Funny Man.
Well, yeah. Why am I blanking on his freaking name? How is he not top billed on this? Go to IMDb, not the first name. Bill Hader. Literally the main character. What are we doing, IMDb? Yeah, no. I don't know if you would like Barry, Kyle. I literally, not like I'm skeptical you would enjoy it. I have no idea how you would react to this show.
I play a lot of horror games. I don't watch a lot of horror movies. I think vampires. Have I ever played? Well, V Rising we played quite a bit of, but
yes, and you still refuse to watch the amazing Castlevania show.
I started it. There was a bunch of like cursing for cursing's sake, so I was kind of like, I just don't.
Oh my god!
Care. We're so edgy. We're Critical Role voice actors. Let's curse.
Doesn't matter.
Oh my god, I'm such a super fan of them. I never get to hear them say the F word. Oh my god. You know what? Like this happened to Kristen. Like it happened to me with Austin Powers. Like we all have that thing that was so buzzy, and you missed the window. That the buzz was so loud that when you checked out, you're like, this is crap. For Kristen, that was Fifth Element, which is one of the saddest tragedies, personally, because I love Fifth Element. I saw Fifth Element like completely organically, like just like, what's this? Like a rental. It's like, this is weird. What a cover. What is this? I also saw Stardust that way, which a lot of people hate Stardust, but I was just in the theaters. Like it was one of those like Sundays your parents drop you off and they're like, well, you got 3 hours. And so I just was like, okay, I'll go see Stardust. And I was like, whoa, this is great. This is so wacky. This went places I couldn't possibly expect. But Castlevania was one of those where people were just like, it's so edgy. You're going to love it. The violence and the
actually advertises anything as being edgy?
The animation was cheap. There was like pointless cursing.
What?
Yeah.
The animation is fantastic. You are wrong. You're just wrong. You defend the final 2 episodes of Cyberpunk and you call Castlevania cheap animation?
Well, I mean, also Invincible's really cheap. Like to
Invincible is cheap. Castlevania is not. Like, what are you? Yeah. Okay. All right. Hey, can we get a few more patrons? We need to get Kyle to an optometrist. Castlevania is fucking beautiful.
I'll try it again. I'll try it again, but I tried it at the height of its buzz, and it just was very flat to me.
Yeah. Invincible is cheap. I'll give you that, but it does a good job. It understands how to wield its animation. So I'll go to bat for Invincible in that. Like it understands the framework it's working within, and it makes its action land within its own budget.
No, I ended up liking Invincible eventually.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
My big headbutt.
I figured you would. Figure that's something you would never get into, but Invincible was fantastic.
I like the question it was posing with the dad and the son and kind of the exploration. My biggest problem with like any DC animated project, and this goes like across like just about everything they do, is they don't up their production during fights. Like their static production is just as high as their fight production. And I don't even mean like they're adding computer graphics. I don't really care with DC because it's
kind of the American style.
Yeah.
Even though I'm sure that shit's outsourced, but
But like they were really good. They were decent with music, right? Like sometimes you're watching. I immediately think of like Yu-Gi-Oh and Sailor Moon, where they have like 3 tracks that they play over and over again. Like Invincible had enough music to play that I didn't feel like it was laborious on those. I got to see a lot of cool things. It's why I like Rick and Morty. Like Rick and Morty.
I don't think I've
goes
watched
there.
I used to be really into the DC animated stuff. I don't think I've watched one since Red Hood.
I really love the old Justice League cartoon series. I really like Soldier. I forget his name, but Green Lantern, previous military Green Lantern. I think that's a really great place for that character. I think Superman is only ever interesting inside the Justice League, where he has to withhold power, work with other people, have weaknesses. Batman's freaking hilarious. Flash is great.
I never got into it. To me, it peaked with the first one ever, which was the Batman animated series. And so I never, after that was over, I was just like, oh, I'm just sad that the best one of these is already done. And it was the first one of those. So I never loved again after the Batman animated series, including Batman Beyond. I'm one of those that did not watch that. So.
Batman Beyond was definitely kind of odd.
Dude, I'm surprised we're on the same page about this. Every other friend in my life I have that likes the animated series wants to physically assault me for not thinking Beyond is one of the greatest things ever.
Well, I'm going to poke the beehive here, but I don't like it when you take a character that could be redeemable with a happy ending and then make them grumpy forever, and that's what they did with Batman. Which, is why I don't like New Luke, kind of stuff, because he could have been a happy guy.
But he does redeem himself at the end.
But like I struggled to get into it. Like, I mean, stylistically, like, yeah, there were, I was a teenager and there was a lot of goth girls and Batman Beyond or whatever it was called. So I was like, oh, this is a pretty show. Look at all this. But I story wise, it was really disjointed. I like Static Shock. Static Shock was honestly one of my favorites. I love Static Shock growing up.
What the hell is Static Shock?
Static Shock, he had electric powers. It was kind of like a webbing system in the sense that he had to charge.
I'm looking this up right now. I have never seen this.
He had to charge himself on like electric poles, so he had like limited juice, and so there was
based on a comic. It looks like there's comics. Was it based on a comic or the comics based on the show?
I'm not sure. This was young Static Shock and his friends. Later on, I know like the majority of times I've seen him in comics or other productions, he's an adult. So I think maybe Static Shock was either invented for the show or he was old and then they made him young for the kids show. I'm not sure, but Static Shock I was really, really into.
I have never laid eyes upon this.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun show.
Apparently there are rumors that Michael B. Jordan was producing a Static Shock movie for Warner Brothers. That'd be interesting.
I'd welcome it.
Jordan.
Static Shock's great.
Huh. All right. This went long. Hey, Castlevania, by the way, is the answer to this because I hate the games, but I love the anime.
Okay, well, I tentatively, I really like vampire movies. I don't think I like vampire games. I haven't played one where I'm like, ooh, you nailed it.
You on top of me, I'm very picky about my vampire movies. I don't love all vampire movies.
Well, how can you? They're so different. You do like Interview with a Vampire, right? Like,
it's fantastic.
Okay.
I need to watch the new show that just came out. There's now a show adaptation of Interview with a Vampire that I believe just started last month.
I believe we both have a guilty pleasure for Underworld movies, right?
Oh, I love Underworld.
Okay,
it's new metal, the movie. They're extremely dated, but yeah, man, guns akimbo, skin tight, Matrix leather. Let's go.
Yeah, Bill Nighy hanging out doing his call.
I will never grow out of that shit. Let's just put a blue. Kyle, the next video on YouTube, can we just slap it with the blue filter?
You've seen Bram Stoker's Dracula, the one with Keanu Reeves?
Last year was the first time I had ever seen it. Halloween was the first time I ever watched it. I don't know how I missed it because it is one of the greatest vampire movies ever made.
Oh yeah, it's a steaming pile of shit, but it is just fabulous.
Oh, I disagree. The only thing that's the steaming pile of shit in that thing is Keanu Reeves' performance.
Keanu Reeves.
Everything else in that movie is great.
Doing like a weird sort of British accent.
He's legitimately terrible. I love Keanu Reeves. He's awful in that movie.
He's miscast.
Irredeemable. But the rest of that movie is great. I think it's a legitimately good movie.
Odin, Hannibal. He plays Helsing in that. He's freaking fantastic.
Oh, Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I love his kind of like the way he laughs like a Murloc through the whole damn thing. I'm just like, I love it. I eat that guy up.
He's exactly as gone as you would be if you spent your entire life hunting vampires.
Yeah. Well, thoroughly
yeah,
sauced.
It's a perfectly encapsulated performance. It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. Watch Bram Stoker's Dracula. Jack Lee wants to know if we've had our interest in Monster Hunter peaked.
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 I mean, it's curious. I wouldn't say peaked because it looks like an endeavor. It looks like a massive
not peaked
undertaking.
as in you're at peak interest, but it's piqued your interest.
Oh, as in just peaked. Yeah, I'm interested.
Yeah, we're definitely interested.
Yeah, co-op.
We have almost streamed it like 3 separate times now.
Yes, anytime there's like a server down.
Every time we don't think Final Fantasy is going to be available for a Monday stream, our fallback plan has been Monster Hunter, but then it always ends up working out and we're able to play Final Fantasy.
Yeah, the servers aren't actually down during that time. They came back early enough, what have you. But we have definitely flirted with the topic frequently, and it's something I'm still very curious about.
Yeah. Kyle, we got a very specific question in chat that was directed at me, but I've got a way to take this. MMO Richard said, Garrett, what are your thoughts on the new S650 body style for the 2024 Mustang? Yeah, totally not at all on topic, but I just want to come up with a question. I will answer this question, but first, if you are one of the rare listeners of our old podcast Week Sauce, then you will know where this is going, because it's time for Kyle Describes Cars.
All right.
Too soon, Junior.
Yes, Kyle Describes Cars was my favorite thing that was lost when we stopped doing Week Sauce, which was Kyle. This is Kyle. Kyle knows jack shit about cars. I'm going to show Kyle a car, and he's going to describe it. So, Kyle, in front of you is the yet-to-be-released but just revealed new Mustang. Describe this car to me, Kyle.
Is this a real picture? It looks like a video game.
This is a real picture. This is a real picture.
I assume they like hand blurred the background to make it look faster.
You can just take a picture of a car in motion from another moving vehicle, and the background will be blurry.
I can't tell the difference between video game cars and real cars anymore. This looks like a video game car. I can't assume the spoiler's actually doing anything. They like tacked on 2 extra headlights. Wait, hang on. Are the lights serious? The back lights, your turn signals, your brakes are both pointing the same direction? That's dumb as hell.
It's the angle of the car being taken that makes it look like that. So if you look at the far right one, they have a crease where they're kind of meeting on an angle. And so when you take a 3/4 shot, it kind of has that effect.
In the Portland...
While you continue, I'll see if I can find you a directly behind image.
Okay. In Portland, they do this horrible thing where instead of a green arrow, they will just turn on a green light. And you're sitting in the turn lane and a green light just comes on for you. You're just like, what?
Oh, so you just need to know you're in a turn lane?
Yeah.
Oh,
they don't put the little like scrim on it to like shape it like an arrow. The green just turns on and you go like, Jesus, take the wheel. Like, I hope.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, it freaks me out. It freaks me out.
I am not a fan.
But it looks like a car.
Hard to find. It's
like
a car.
Yeah, it has a scoop thingy. It's got the spoiler on it. So that's the antenna, I assume, on top, the little nub.
Yeah, we call that a shark fin antenna.
Yo, is that cool? Because that's dumb looking.
We've had it for a long time because antennas just rot in the sun.
Can we not put an antenna inside a car? Like, do we need antennas still?
Yeah. Now we got HD radio, dude, and satellite radio.
But can't the car just receive without an antenna?
I'm not a radio engineer.
I know you can't put your Mickey ball on top there, but still, like I thought we were past it. So why do you need 4? Why do you need 4 exhausts? Why? What? Is there so much exhaust?
It's entirely cosmetic. You could just have 2 plain circles there.
Would you need 2?
Well, you would have a dual exhaust, which you could make an argument for it helps with dispersal of exhaust fumes.
So they're not ugly? Like smoky?
In my opinion, I think most cars nowadays have a dual exhaust just because it looks nicer and it's more symmetrical.
Okay.
as opposed to the old day of just having one just hanging off to one side. That being said, high horsepower cars have to a lot of exhaust fumes that need to go somewhere, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
Need to go somewhere.
Yeah.
We would call that a quad tip exhaust, by the way.
Mustangs are Fords.
They are Fords, yes.
Fords. We have a Ford 2-door. The license plate is perfectly placed to be indented so that you can put one of those Florida bubbles over it to stop cops from speed checking your car, as seen on TV.
Not how it works. That is not how
Wasn't
it
it
works.
It's a bubble curve because like when they blast you with the speed sensor, it like bounces in an odd direction. Right? Or is it more like a shader? So like when you're like behind the car, you can't read
You're
the
trying to obscure your license plate. It's not to stop them from hitting you with a radar.
That's what I always heard.
If they're doing that, they're going to get in a car and pull you over. What's over your license plate is irrelevant.
So why? So you don't want it to be seen then? Isn't that illegal?
It is super illegal.
Then why do so many people in Florida do it?
A lot of people just have a frame, man.
Oh, your little diamond frame, yeah, with your.
A lot of people just have. Oh yeah, or your barbed wire, or your Tinkerbell.
Yeah,
Actually,
your
I haven't,
Sylvester.
dude, I haven't seen Tinkerbell in a long time. Actually,
Sylvester car seats. You know, Bugs Bunny with a gun.
What did you have? Do you have dice? Did you have dice in your car in college?
No. Well,
I had dice.
I'm super lame motion sickness, so I didn't do any dangles. I didn't want dangles rocking the boat. Yeah.
Nice.
I did not decorate my car. Also, my parents growing up were like really like staunch, like no bumper stickers ever. Like that's a huge faux pas that is like ingrained in me. So my car,
my rear window was completely covered in die cut vinyl of bands I liked.
I believe it. I've seen your guitar. You know, you like your stickers.
Yes. It was. You knew my taste of music very quickly.
No. I mean, it's a. I won't get it. Okay. I'll tell a little story. It's a sad story. It's a sad story.
Okay.
Sad story.
All right.
So I got my car. Loved my car. A Subaru Baja. You know, in high school. Loved it.
I would personally love a Baja now.
Not a cool car for like a high schooler, but personally a car that I think looks like a shoe, but I love it. I love the shape.
They're cool now. They were not cool then.
It's a beautiful car. I love that car so much. So I started like kind of inching into cars, but every time I did, I got a lot of pressure as to why I didn't get the GRX or something at the time.
WRX would have been the cool Subaru.
Yeah. So it's high school, man. Like I'm starting to, so I'm like kind of getting into the cars. Like I'm starting to explore it. Like I'm really babying this car. I love my Baja. And I was part of the theater. Troop Connection, what was it called? The Thespians. I was part of Thespians. And we did an AIDS fundraiser in our school. We collected a lot of money. And my car got keyed by the bullies at the school. Because they thought I was gay or something like that. Like they came out and they full on like etched in my car with keys and spelled things in my car.
Or being a part of an AIDS fundraiser?
Yeah.
That is in the mid 2000s?
Yeah, in the mid 2000s, like
what
early 2000s.
Hell?
Yeah, this would have been 2004.
Listen, I get that we shouldn't have been. We were still saying gay in casual conversation.
Yeah,
we shouldn't have been. But damn,
yeah,
your school
man,
was rough,
right?
Your school was rough.
So, like, I just kind of, like, mentally, I just checked out of cars. Like, that, I know, an over serious story, but, like, I just, like, mentally, I was like, wow, I babied this car. I love this car. And it was ruined before my eyes. So I checked out of cars.
I'm so sorry, dude. That sucks.
Yeah. That's my overly serious story.
Ouch. I thought we were just going down a rabbit hole of car gatekeeping, which is, dear God, man.
Does happen. Yeah.
Holy shit. Dude, car communities are so friggin' toxic. And they are kind of like still stuck in the 2000s. Like, you know how I just said, back then we were saying gay and we shouldn't have been? That shit is all over car communities still.
I mean, there's going to be gatekeeping no matter where you go. Like, and there certainly was with the car that I was loving and like, posing on, I was super proud of it, like sitting on the hood and people being like, as they walked by, right? Like there were some big ego hits. But But I
But
love.
you also, I mean, you had such an extreme example. I'd no longer want to have fun with this, but it does sound like you had a little bit of a self-awareness issue as well.
Yeah. Yeah, oh, no, so like I said, I love this car. I love this car. But you know,
Yeah.
that crossed a barrier, and I was just like, you know what, I'm done publicly announcing this was my car.
My car got egged once. I don't know why. I still don't know who did it. Don't know why they did it.
Do eggs do bad things to cars?
No, I mean, if you cleaned it off quick enough, it's
Oh,
fine.
okay.
Like, it was just kind of gross. Yeah, it was no big deal. My friends did the saran wrap thing. My car got saran wrapped one time. One time I came out of the movies and my car was completely wrapped in caution tape. And I wasn't with friends. I was out on a date. And it turned out one of my friends saw my car there and they happened to have a roll of caution tape with them and they just thought it'd be freaking hilarious.
I mean, that's fun. That's wacky.
Yeah.
Oh, but it was tape though. It wasn't like you had to like peel off the tape and there was like sticky residue.
When I say tape, it wasn't sticky tape.
Okay,
It was
okay.
Caution tape like you would put at a construction site, hanging on like some sawhorses
fun
and shit.
wacky. That's fun and wacky.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine. No, no one ever caused permanent damage to my car on purpose. So yeah. Anyway, the original question was, what do I think of it? So for listeners who are like, what the shit? What's going on? I love cars and big car nerd. I have a Mustang. And so for the first time since 2015, it's getting a major redesign, and that's what you just looked at was, Kyle. I kind of hate it, to be honest. I think it's kind of obnoxiously futuristic to where I think it already looks dated. I think it already kind of looks old. And they also, it hasn't changed that much from the current body, which is what I have. They kind of just changed the front and the back. The side profile is almost identical. And so I'm honestly kind of happy. I change cars out a lot.
I can't imagine that life. That's bizarre to me.
Yeah, so I was actually kind of crossing my fingers. I was like, I hope I don't like the new one. Please don't make the new one nice. And I'm actually kind of happy. I think it's ugly because I have no desire to swap out my current Mustang for this new one. So maybe I'm lying to myself. I don't know, but I think it's just kind of stupidly, needlessly futuristic. It looks like an electric car, and I don't like the way electric cars look. I think they look dumb. So
I just hate their charging stations because they have lots of giant ads on them, and it takes my son forever to get into the grocery store.
See, here in Florida, they're like off in a corner. I never see them. Like they're so far away from the actual pumps.
Oh no, they're front and center. Like they're proud monuments to conservation here in town, but they're just motion eyesores. You know, they're entrancing.
Yeah. So, anywho, moving right along, getting through our mailbag here. Alberto wants to know. Oh, wait. No. Alberto asked too many questions, and I pulled an extra one on accident.
Okay.
Alberto told me the exact question they wanted asked, which is, what's our favorite type of chip? They originally wrote crisp, but we're in America, so I translated it for us.
Okay.
What's your favorite type of chip, Kyle?
Gotta be a chip, right?
Chips.
My tastes have changed recently, so I'll go with classic barbecue. Barbecue is my go-to.
Barbecue. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, barbecue's usually the last thing I'll eat. But I
got
don't
into the
mind it.
dill chips recently, and I really like them.
Okay, never mind. I would just not eat that.
Yeah.
I would just not eat that. Yeah, I don't like dill. Not a big dill guy. But hey, more for you. I'm a sour cream and onion guy. Have always been, always will be. Although recently, against my wishes, Doritos were brought into this house, and I forgot how many Doritos I can eat if not checked or shamed. I straight up got kind of sick on some Doritos last week, Kyle.
You gotta put them in a bowl. You gotta pace.
Yeah. We were out back. We were relaxing. It was hot. I was sweaty. We were having beer.
Lost
Well,
track.
I'm gonna go get that bag of Doritos. Just sat there. Oh yeah, but no, sour cream and onion. Specifically, dirty brand potato chips, sour cream and onion. Greatest chip on the planet. If they can't be in the house, I only get the single serving bag with my pub sub because they have them next to the deli counter at Publix. Yeah. One time we bought like 20 of them and had them in the house, and I like ate them in like a week. It was a problem.
Oh, sounds sickening.
Yeah. Oh, freaking love it. I love it. N. Cole said, if I remember correctly, this YouTube channel was the first time you're doing video first content, as you were originally doing podcasts and you only streamed MSQ since Heavensward. How would you compare your experience right now with the Final Fantasy XIV MSQ you played during A Realm Reborn without streaming? And how has streaming affected the way you enjoy the game? They went on to say, would you say streaming gave you a better gaming experience with 14? I think this is vaguely impossible to answer. Like, A Realm Reborn is the least I've liked Final Fantasy XIV so far. So, like, the expansions just kind of keep getting better. Arguable dip for Stormblood, but I still really had a good time with it. So, I feel like I'm enjoying the game a lot because the game is good. And also, the stream is also successful and fun and a good time. So everything is awesome. So it's hard for me to compare it to Realm Reborn because Realm Reborn it felt like a bit of a slog at times.
Yeah, I can't imagine streaming A Realm Reborn in that way. I mean, obviously, if you have a big enough audience and your audience convinces you or you are personally interested to try it out, there's an element that could naturally happen as you just kind of have your stream scheduled and that's what you're going to play that day. But honestly, that's like buying your first anything and then firing up a guides channel. It just sounds like one of the most confusing, awful things you could do. Just turn on a stream and be like, hey, everybody, what's up? Don't know if I like this game. You know, it's one thing to say, I don't know if I like this sandwich. You take a bite and go, oh, I just took a bite of like an eighth of a sandwich and you get a general feel for it. This is literally, you would like peel off top of the bun like a single sesame seed and be like, oh, I don't know if this burger's good or not. You simply like have to go deep enough in the game to even be invested. And if you play previous MMOs, you kind of get into it and you're like, oh, this is relaxing. And then it kind of sneaks up on you that it's good and it has like depth and story and stuff like that. And the characters you're meeting are matter. So as for like A Realm Reborn, I'm very happy I didn't stream it because you were a lowly adventurer and having such a chill, lonely atmosphere for that invested me in the game. Now that we are in like the Rauger's Reach and like Stormblood, I really didn't mind a lot of the crowd because it was crowded. You know, we were in cities, we were on battlefields, we were in open areas. I will say I'm nervous about tonight is kind of my big thing because like on the first, now entering like the faction wood part where you're gonna meet a bunch of people. That's where my brain's like, oh, I'm not special. There's all these people around. I should be like the only one here. Oh, that's kind of weird. So, yeah, it's a give and take, right? Like, I love getting to do the interaction. I like when we're exploring the lore all together. We're asking questions, we're predicting, playing with chat in that way. It's really fun when we go to cities and see everybody interacting, when we go into town and see everybody chilling. But when we're like on the road, there's that moment where I'm like, I'm meant to be alone.
A Realm Reborn was weird, man.
Realm Reborn is weird.
I wish I could have a time machine to go back and try a Splinter timeline where I don't stream it and see how I feel, but I can't imagine I'd feel all that different. I'd probably have a worse understanding of the game because I wouldn't read as closely.
Oh, you're talking about like, because you played off stream for A Realm Reborn. We didn't really start streaming until Heavensward there when we met up. So
that's what this whole question is about. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're curious if like we just never streamed at all, how your opinions would be different?
That's why I'm thinking this is a difficult question to answer because I'm like, well, the only part I didn't stream was A Realm Reborn. I didn't love the game yet, and I don't think streaming or not streaming would have made a huge difference. You know, maybe the laughs and the memes would have got me through it a little bit more. It certainly happened like recently, and we're in a slow part in Shadowbringers, and the chat memeing on us made it a lot more enjoyable for me than I think it would have been otherwise. But if I had played it alone, I just would have like stopped. I legit would have stopped reading and just gone until I got interested again and started paying attention again. So, like, because I know the type of player I am.
No, I think as I explore the topic more, it's easy to take it in a simple way and just say, well, these are my personal preferences, but there's also a lot of give and take with that. Like certainly with the character of Alphino, who through A Realm Reborn is using you like a lackey and ordering you around.
I couldn't stand him. I couldn't stand Alphino in A Realm Reborn. I thought he sucked. So I wanted to hang out with Y'shtola.
Right. So when we turn on the stream, we're just ripping on Alphino, something that now players have had 6-8 years growing alongside.
Oh, yeah.
People are like, what the hell's wrong with these guys? These guys hate the game. It's like, no, we're ripping on the dweeb. Alphino sucks.
Now I love him. Like,
Yeah,
that was one of my
he's great.
favorite characters in the game. But yeah, like back in the early stages, I was like, could this dude please just stop talking and let the cool cat girl talk? Like, she's cooler.
So in
also
that,
the first Scion I met, but
well, and in that way, like the Alphino ripping would have lasted much longer because you wouldn't have been confronted with that wall of like, whoa, what are you guys even talking about? You guys are wrong. Like, stay tuned. It gets better. Like, without that information, I bet I would have gotten very deep into Heaven's Ward, maybe even beyond, still ripping on Alphino.
see, I'm an ass. So when people tell me I'm wrong, I double down longer than I probably would have otherwise, in spite of being told I'm wrong.
Sure. No, I definitely, like, I ingest information. I love putting up a fight, but I do enjoy adjusting my opinions and navigating those bars. It's a very fun obstacle course to try to figure out. I mean, the one I remember the most is like Minfilia Thancred. Like, that's the one that I got in the most trouble for, which now we're in the part we're in. Yeah, I get why you're upset, but I didn't have that information. So there's always going to be these trips and little, minefields along the way that you personally didn't invest in. Somebody else finds more investment in. That's always just going to be a part of streaming. I have no doubt that there's been so many games where people have tuned in, not just Final Fantasy, and a streamer walks right by their favorite part, their favorite vista, doesn't pay attention to it.
Yeah. Interesting question. Rapidly shifting gears, Arathane wants to know how we're feeling about the Twitter Musk meltdown shenanigans. Is Twitter a big part of what you do? Are you looking for alternatives, not worried, or waiting to see what happens? I'm worried and waiting to see what happens. And yes, Twitter is a big part of what I do.
I guess it should be a bigger part of what I do. I just don't participate. I participate in I use TweetDeck. I participate in my own comments, and my own publications.
Yeah, I would say for me, not much has changed. I see a lot of people signal boosting awful things, which is my own complaint about Twitter, but I had that complaint before Musk was in charge. I don't know why everyone shares things that they think are horrible and evil and terrible, and a lot of times are. Just like, why let these people die in obscurity? Why are we giving them a megaphone? But yeah, no, I think it's I think I think the easiest way to wrap this up is like, I don't think Twitter had great leadership before. But at the same time, yes, I do think somehow leadership just got a little bit worse.
It's kind of, it's like McDonald's. It's like, what's open, like I'd happily go anywhere if that's where everyone goes. I don't feel like I have a basis or a platform. Like Twitch, I struggled with that. Like Twitch, like a full blown, like I spent years here. I invested in this platform. I had emojis made. I've got all this back catalog. I've done descriptions. I've done panels. I've done art. I've done load screens. Like I did so much for Twitch. That was a tough decision to leave. But Twitter, like my banner, like I don't give a crap about my banner. I should, like, I should business-minded more, but the business-minded people I see just like scheduled tweets of random ass thoughts. And usually like the jokes I find personally hilarious get no likes. And I'm just like, oh, you guys suck. that bird wearing pants is awesome. Like, no, nobody wants to just like use it like what all I want to do is like shoot memes on it. But that's not what the platform's for. So I just shoot memes to my friends instead. I'm happier knowing real people.
That's fair. That's fair. It's where I like to go. I like to test things. I like to test where my brain's at and things I want to talk about either here or on videos, and have little pocket conversations. I love Twitter. Like it is my social media of choice for a reason. So like, outside of the Discord, like if you want to talk with me, like hit me up on Twitter. Like I sat there for an hour doing AMA while I was stuck in the Atlanta airport for forever because I was just like, well, I'm bored. I love that shit. I love that. Like I'm just like, oh god, I just want to socialize, and that's Twitter. That's what it's there for. It's great. It's great. Current shit concerns me, but yeah, I think you that's a wonderfully zen way to think of it. Is just like, I mean, I'll eat McDonald's, but if something better comes along, let's go.
Yeah, if something's open, like
it's a great way to think. Like, yeah, like whatever. If it does go down, like whatever, we'll end up somewhere else. We'll figure it out. It'll be fine.
I get like followers, like you're invested in the platform. weird.
Yeah, and yeah. So that's kind of it's. I take comfort in how democratic Twitter is. If we all decide we're done with it and we leave, it's worth nothing, and that I find extremely amusing, considering how much was just spent to take control of it. So, yeah, honestly, the nihilist in me thinks Twitter going down in flames would be the absolutely funniest outcome of this entire thing.
I deleted my own Facebook, so I'm good. Do whatever you gotta. Like if everybody, yeah.
Aren't you still on Instagram?
Oh, I started one for DM Gives Inspiration, where I was posting my art back when I was doing a lot of monster art and stuff for my D&D games. But
I find Facebook completely useless until it's time for car things, because it's the best place to find out about car shows. Facebook's really good for local shit. So, but yeah, I've muted most of my family members on there for a lot of different reasons.
Discord. I like Discord. I'm a big fan of Discord.
Discord's good, but it's not easy to search, and it's a bit messy, even though I love it. So, yeah, it's not perfect. It is not a replacement for Twitter. I've seen that being batted around. I'm like, God, no. I love Discord. I use it constantly. A Twitter replacement, it is not. So... moving along, Balarisha wants to know, if you had to pick one genre of game, what would be your favorite? I feel like MMO is a cop-out, Kyle.
That's a lot of content, right? Like, I mean,
it is a cop-out.
Then you're getting into like the desert island sort of question. Like bringing an MMO with you is just like the best choice because, you know, live service game, content, stuff to do, completionist.
Yeah. Yeah, outside of MMOs, I cannot get enough of the overplayed prestige Sony AAA third-person game. Like, just give me a third-person action game that had too much money poured into it.
So, Last of Us, Uncharted, Tomb Raider, down the line.
Yep. I would even throw Insomniac games into that. Well, they're a little bit different, but like the Spider-Man Fair. One of my favorite games of the last few years was Spider-Man. God of War. Yeah, give me. Is it an expensive developed PlayStation exclusive? Let's go.
Mine used to be strategy games, but they don't really make them anymore. Not big effort ones.
No.
You know, They Are Billions satisfied me for a little bit.
They're out there, but yeah, they've gotten smaller in scale. They become much more analogous to tabletop games.
Right, and then you might as well put turn-based on it rather than real-time because you're going to reach a wider audience. And it's just going to be more relaxing for more people, and I think that ultimately is just a better choice.
Yeah.
So strategy games. Strategy.
I'm basic, man. It's that or first-person shooters. Like, growing up, I couldn't get enough of them. A lot of my favorite games, like Half-Life and Halo, are born of that. But I think there's more variety to be had in third-person games in terms of how you interact with the world.
I think the saddest part about the AAA strategy
recession,
drought. It just feels like it's a forever choice, right? With mobile games and everything like that, it's just not worth producing for the sales. It's just you don't get good stories anymore. Like you have an excellent game, but the story sucks. I can't really think of a strategy game that had an excellent story, but the game sucks because you probably just straight up don't play it, and the story sucks because the game sucks, right? So you're not gonna like recover from a bad game. But so many strategy games have tried to put stories on top of it. It just always fails. Except for StarCraft, and then that kind of failed. Wings of Liberty was great. Wings of Liberty was great.
I loved Heart of the Swarm, and the gameplay of the campaign of Legacy of the Void was very good, but I did not like where they took the story.
Yeah.
So, what you gonna do? Recently beat Wings of Liberty not that long ago. It had an itch. I had an itch, and I went and played through Wings of Liberty again. That shit freaking holds up, man. You want to get real angry about Warcraft 3 or 4? Just go play StarCraft 2 again.
I'm good. I don't really want to play.
It plays so well. And then you go play Reforged. The Warcraft 3 plays like an old and moldy piece of crap RTS, and all they did was put new paint on an old and moldy RTS. It's StarCraft 2 still holds up, man. It's such a good game.
Yeah, well,
it's so freaking good.
And the upgrades in Wings of Liberty are so incremental and so well paced. The difficulty is extremely well done. I think Heart of the Swarm invested a lot of Diablo ideas into it and made it more of a hero-based strategy game in that way, which was fun. Was still fun at the time.
It's another interesting comparison to Warcraft 3. It's like, oh, this is Heart of the Swarm just does this better.
Yeah. Warcraft 3, I will say, like, the fact that the hero kept the level and the items gave each mission a through line that was unknown in strategy games at the time. Like, you'd always hit the next level and have to go upgrade guns and armors 3 times and get that Zergling speed upgrade.
And you still needed to do that in Warcraft 3 for your units, but your hero.
Yeah, the hero having that. And so when Wings of Liberty came out, and it wasn't really a hero unit game, but you did your upgrades outside of the game. Most of them. There were still like the 3 armor sets kind of thing to do. But I wasn't missing heroes as much in Wings of Liberty. So when they went heavy on that in Heart of the Swarm, it made the game too easy. But I thought Legacy of the Void was just the... That's why I'm excited for Frost Giant or any of these Blizzard offshoot claiming to make a strategy game right now before it becomes a mobile game possibly. And I would not hold it against them. You know, I understand. But
we said our piece on the Frost Giant stuff, or I said my piece on the Frost Giant stuff. Oh, it is no longer on my radar after their reveal. I'm like, okay, cool. I don't need to think about that anymore.
A weak cinematic for sure. But yes, I'm
what might call it weak sauce.
Strategy. That's my answer.
All right, final question today. Mythos Midnight said, now that Kyle has made you play 2 games of his choosing.
Oh, I see.
What is on your short list of games to make Kyle play with you, Garrett? This is actually pretty easy. World of Warcraft. And I direly want to replay through all of Halo on co-op with you.
All, like just
all
one or
it.
all Halos.
All Halo.
Wow.
All Halos. Maybe we do chronological order. Would be interesting. And start with would Reach be I guess Reach would be first.
Oh geez. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. All Halo, Legendary only, except for 2, because Legendary's bullshit on Halo 2. But oh yeah.
Okay.
I want to do the whole kit and caboodle.
Wow.
That's bucket list. Bucket list for me before I die. I want to beat all of Halo with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Darktide comes out when? November 30th. So all right, how many days of World of Warcraft do I have to do to make you play Darktide?
You don't need to do anything. I'm interested. Let's go.
All right, so that's
a mutual. That's a mutual. I want to play that. Let's go.
Okay. Yeah. We're good.
Let's do it. I think WoW makes more sense in the short term. We're pretty MMO minded right now, and I want to stay educated on what WoW is doing.
I see your meaning.
Yeah.
Listen to the last
Anyways, thanks for the emails, everybody. Feedback at startgrindinggear.com is where you can send those. And other than that, we want to thank our wonderful and badass and distinguished patrons for supporting us on Patreon. You can support us on Patreon by going to supportourbromance.com. And this week, we want to thank and also just give a special shout out to Jason. Jason doubled their pledge this unprompted this week. Kyle just decided we needed a raise, and I didn't know we needed a raise, but thank you, Jason. Appreciate it.
Much appreciated. To Andy Y, thank you for your support.
Elvin I, which I wanted to give an extra shout out to as well, because they set themselves to a custom amount, and it was above average.
Nice.
What they decided they wanted to give us. So Elvin, thank you very much for the extra support.
Milus? Help me.
Millis?
Millis.
Thank you.
Please correct me if you if you could. Thank you for your support.
Faith L, thanks for becoming a patron.
Bloodsy von Snugglegore.
We know Bloodsy.
We've seen ya. Thanks for supporting.
Such a great name. Thanks for becoming a patron. And of course, there's a special level of patrons we thank each and every episode. That is our legendary level backers. So thank you to Sean B, Mike R, Stephen J, Wayra E, Das, Cheesy Bob, and Sean with an EA. B. Sean putting the EA in the... No, this is an EA joke there, and I can't come up with one.
Sports? It's in the game.
Yeah, but I don't play sports games.
No, well,
so.
have you seen them on Steam? Oh my God. Like, they're
What?
always mixed. It always says mixed reviews, and I go, oh no.
I see them on the top 10 because FIFA's just always the top.
Yeah, but people hate it. Like those are rage buys. I don't know what's going on there, but people buy the crap out of them, and they hate them.
It's popular and kind of corrupt, as it turns out.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, if you want more of Kyle and me, we are live on this YouTube multiple times a week. Go to youtube.com/AMOVTV. Subscribe to that channel. You're going to get our Wednesday uploads, and we stream every Monday and every Thursday. And Thursday's a double duty. We stream this podcast live in the afternoon, and then we come back in the evening and usually play Final Fantasy 14. So, head on over to youtube.com/AMOVTV. And if you haven't checked out this week's video, please do. Other than that, I'm on Twitter at Garrett Art. Kyle's on Twitter at Kyle Ferguson. And we're both on Twitter on our joint account at Garrett and Kyle, at least until Elon Musk burns it all down because he didn't get enough $8 verifies. So that's going to do it for this episode of Grinding Gear. We'll maybe see you next week. At least I will. Kyle is uncertain. So, until baby number 2 comes along. GG, everybody.
I'll be back after that. I'll be back after that. We're still. I'll be on for 2 weeks.
Yeah, you'll be gone for 2 weeks whenever baby comes. Yep. But hey, until then, GG.
Take care.